Bonjour everyone and welcome back to the Waves of Your Soul. I am your humble French tarot reader Marie, and today I'm really excited because we're doing a good old-fashioned little haul. There's about 6-7 decks that came in whilst I was away in September. A lot of them were pre-orders, deck that I had ordered quite a few months ago. We have some indie ones, some mass market, and I just wanted to share them with you. Mood definitely was spooky / autumn vibes because I knew that by ordering them quite a long time in advance they would hopefully come just in time for October, November, which is funny because it's not even autumn for me where I live. It's gonna be spring. If you don't know, I live in Reunion Island, which is a tropical island in the middle of the Indian Ocean, but I love to live my fantasy. I'm delusional, and in my head October and November I still want to read with those spooky autumn vibe decks even though it's probably 30 degrees outside and vibe is definitely more iced tea than chai latte. That being said, if you're new here, hi, it's so nice to have you. If you enjoy tarot and oracle decks, this is a great place to be. On my channel I love reading the cards and I love talking about them. In the description box you will find all the names of the decks I am mentioning so that it's easier for you guys. I always say, in case my froggy French accent gets in the way, all the names of the decks are in the description box. If I'm talking about certain shops where I shop my decks, I will leave those down below as well. In the description box you will also find a deck haul playlist for all of my fellow deck goblins out there. I've made a playlist recently with all of my deck haul videos, so I thought that could be fun for those of you like me who like to watch those videos in a row. And finally, in the description box you will also find my social media links. Mostly these days I hang out on Instagram and on YouTube, so that's where I'll be if you want to hang out. I think that's it. I don't have any news apart from this little bracelet I got in South Africa is giving me life. I love birds and I love jewelry, so this is absolutely right up my alley. It's bringing me joy. So yeah, fellow bird lovers, below comment a little bird emoji. We stand united. So without further ado, let's get into this little haul. Let's start with mass market and then we'll move on to indie, as I have more indie decks this time than mass market. Kind of depends, honestly, with each haul I present. For a while it was easier for me to buy indie decks because I couldn't find anywhere that shipped to where I live in Reunion that was shipping mass market English decks. Ever since Book Depository closed down, it's been really hard for me to get my hands on mass market English decks because where I live we don't have Amazon, we don't have a lot of shops. Weirdly, indie shops deliver more to Reunion than mass market shops. However, this year I've discovered that Rare Waves, and I've talked about it in a couple of recent haul videos, I've discovered Rare Waves delivers to Reunion. Not sponsored or anything, but that's just letting you know that's where I've been getting my mass market English decks this year, last few months. And I've had so many messages from a lot of you abroad, living in South America or other part of the world, who were saying thank you so much for sharing that website because they managed to also get their hands on some mass market decks they wanted because where they lived also didn't have Amazon and things like that. So two decks I'm gonna share with you right now are decks I got on Rare Waves. I got them right at the same time as I got my last mass market haul, so probably like April or whatever, but this took somehow longer to come. I don't know why they arrived like months later than the other ones, but it doesn't matter. They're here now. So the first one is actually perfect for this season that we're entering into, October spooky season. We have the Earth and Bone Oracle by Syrian Shadow. I've been curious about this deck ever since it came out. I think it came out last year. It's published by Rockpool, and ever since I've been back, so mid-September, I've been definitely getting in my spooky decks. The mood has been spooky vibes. It wasn't technically October yet, I was definitely feeling that mood, so this was perfect timing that it arrived now. Look at those gorgeous backings, beautiful. And so yeah, like I was saying, I've been using this deck. I am gonna continue using it in the month of October, of course. You'll be seeing it in picker card readings, but as you can see, the mood is definitely skulls, skeleton, bones, as the name suggests, earth and bones. And I'm super pumped to finally get my hands on this oracle because I, when I was watching walkthroughs and stuff, thinking about, okay, do I want this or not? I really fell in love with not just the main keywords, which are really great and which I find very interesting to add to my readings. I also fell in love with the addition of keywords at the bottom, which can help take the readings to another level. So here we have flight and we have opportunity, prosperity, new venture. And I love this contrast between something potentially that could seem a little bit shadowy, like flight could make you think, oh, maybe I'm avoiding my problems, maybe I am not paying attention, maybe you think of the fight and flight kind of response, of trauma responses, of am I, running away from what I need to pay attention, but actually looking at it in another way, with opportunity, prosperity, and new venture, we could think about flight as freedom, as opening the cage and going outside our comfort zone, expanding new horizons. So I really enjoy the combination of the two. They give like two sides of a coin almost. And the write-up in the guidebook is really, really good. I'm gonna share it with you in a moment, but I've really enjoyed it. I've only been doing one card pull for this deck so far, and I've been pairing it with my Corrupted Tarot, which I love and adore. if you watch my recent videos, I've been talking about it a lot. It's definitely a dark deck in the sense of it's a reversals only type of deck where it only shares the shadow side of a card, so these two together are really great. But I think I also would love to pair it with my Wandering Spirit, which also depicts a lot of skeleton, and I might do that for October. So this is really great, and even though it looks spooky in the sense of like aesthetically, it could feel a little bit like dark and haunting and all of those things. I know some people really don't like skulls and stuff like that. I think they're quite beautiful, but I can understand it's not for everyone. This deck surprised me by how light it is despite the dark aesthetic, if that makes sense. Like the messages are very empowering, and not that heavy. It's definitely like a supportive deck, an empowering deck. So I was really surprised by how it reads versus how it looks, and I really love actually that kind of dichotomy. I think that's really great. Talking about the guidebook, let's have a little look. And then you have an affirmation, which I always enjoy in my decks. I love when we have a little mantra or an affirmation, or when there's like a journaling question and stuff. And like I was saying, the way that this read is very empowering, so I will let you pause if you want to read this. I won't subject you to my French froggy voice, especially because I'm a bit flared up today, so my voice is even croakier than usual, but I'll let you pause. Let me give another one. There you go. You can pause again if you want to read another card. I feel like I've seen these people talk a lot about this deck last year. I've not seen people mention it that much this year again, but I guess now that we're entering the spooky season, the darker months and all of that, for those of you in the northern hemisphere, we're probably gonna see this deck more. For me, I'm super excited it finally arrived because I've been really enjoying it. You'll be seeing it in future monthly favorite, I'm sure, for October. In my hauls, I give you my first impressions and mini reviews of decks I've worked with for a little bit. But then if you want to know my full opinion, I always come back in my monthly favorites and I give you like more in-depth, I guess, mini reviews after I've worked with the deck extensively for at least a month. The other mass market deck I got from Rare Waves that finally arrived after many months is the Once Upon a Time Tarot. You guys, I pre-ordered this, it finally arrived. I'm super pumped. You know I love a fairy tale deck, you know that. This is by Ilaria Fossi and Carol Ann Eshkenazi. This author is the author of the L'Oracle de la Nuit, which is an oracle by Los Scarabeo, also by Fairy Tales, so definitely someone who enjoy working with fairy tales and bringing them into the cartomancy world. When I found out that there was gonna be new fairy tale tarot coming out this year, it was a no-brainer. I love fairy tales. If you are not aware, it's a subject I love mixing in my tarot practice. I think we can get so much inspiration from them. Last year I did a whole challenge in September where I was sharing fairy tale inspired spread on my Instagram page for the month of September, and I think this year I might make December fairy tale months, at least part of it. Let me know if that would be interesting to you, but I'm really feeling like December could be fun for fairy tales on my channel, and we could have fairy tales inspired readings and I could share the spread so you can try them at home and stuff like that. Let me know if you want that because I want to make stuff that you guys enjoy. If you want to see fairy tale inspired readings and spreads and everything in December, let me know in the comments. Regardless, this is the Once Upon a Time Tarot. Here are the backs, which is super colorful, and the theme is fairy tale meets cute, which honestly I'm so here for. If you are new to my channel, whatever spectrum exists between this and this is where I live. So you need to be aware that I'm a really chaotic deck goblin, meaning that my taste varies a lot. I can go from super cute to super dark and spooky to modern fantasy. Taste is quite eclectic slash chaotic. So I'd rather you know, because I really am not one of those tarot tubers that has a specific taste. I'm not that gal. I like way too many different things. As long as it brings me joy or makes me think, then usually it's a go time for me. So this is still in order. I've not worked with it because, like I said, the vibe for October is definitely, I'm feeling Halloween vibes, I'm feeling spooky time, so the vibe is not right for this yet. I definitely feel like I want to make December or November or December more fairy tale time. However, I couldn't pass this because it's so me. So the major arcana depicts a different fairy tale or fairy tale character for each of the cards, and then you'll see that for the minors, each suit is set in a different world that is inspired by a fairy tale, but that is not necessarily linked to a specific story. So here, for example, we have Baba Yaga for the chariot, we have Beauty and the Beast for strength, we have the Seven Ravens for the hermit. I love that story. If you've never read it, I encourage you to read it. It's really interesting story. We have Beauty, Sleeping Beauty for the wheel, which is perfect for the wheel. For justice, we have the peasant's wise daughter, another great story if you want to read that. There's definitely a lot of spreads I could be doing from that story alone. Pinocchio for the hangman, which I thought is a great choice for the hangman. Love that very much. For death, it wasn't a story I'm familiar with, so I'm gonna have to look up who that is, but if you guys know, let me know in the comments. For temperance, we have the swans story. I don't know what you call that in English. You know, the sister and the brothers turn into swans. I'm not sure how you call that in English, but anyway, that's the swan story. But the guidebook anyway will tell you who all the characters are anyway. So of course for the devil we have Hansel and Gretel, which I think is great, so interesting take on the devil. The tower, we have Rapunzel, of course, with her long hair. For the star, not sure who that is, I'll have to look it up in the guidebook. For the moon, we have Red Riding Hood, which is great. I have another fairy tale deck which puts Red Riding Hood as Justice, which I think is brilliant and genius. I prefer Red Riding Hood as Justice, but as the moon it makes sense with the wolf. Another one of my favorite, for Judgment, we have the Piper of Hamelin, I think you guys call that in English. Love that, you know, the one who can make the rats follow and make the little kids follow with his pipe. It's another great story. I really need to do a tarot spread inspired by that actually. And for the world we have Cinderella, which is an interesting take on the world. So really cute, and like I was saying, in the guidebook it will tell you the name. The guidebook is not huge, but it will tell you the name of who those characters are. Actually, let's look at Death, because I wasn't sure who that was. I'm not familiar with that. Death was, let me pull it out. Here we go. Death is Frohol. Froholi, I don't know how you say that, you guys. Literally, please forgive me, but no idea. It says she can be seen as a fairy tale version of a German goddess of death. In the tale, she came to meet two young sisters to whom she offered the same tasks. The good and hard-working girl was rewarded by a shower of gold, while the evil and spoiled one was punished by a shower of tar. Oh, I see, yeah. There's definitely a few versions of that story, because there is a version of that story for us in French. Usually fairy tales, there's definitely different versions of similar stories. And then they say that the message, this is a law of nature. When something ends, some other thing begins. Life is all about cycles and transformation, and even though some closures are heartbreaking, they may open onto something new that will bring light and joy. And divinatory meaning is a major event is about to happen that will mark a radical change in your life. Prepare for this twist of fate. Okay, this is interesting. For me, this is giving more Wheel of Fortune, or even like the Tower, but interesting. I need to think about that one. This is a great thing about fairy tales, is that we might not all agree about the representation, but at least they will make you think, they will make you, you know, get the brain juices flowing. And I enjoy that. I enjoy getting my brain thinking about ways I can associate tarot with different things. There's two extra cards in this, inspired by the authors and the illustrators' favorite fairy tale. So we have The Road, which is inspired by The Wizard of Oz. We have Dorothy here. And we have The Dream, which is inspired by Alice in Wonderland. And then we move on to the minors. The minors are not related to a specific fairy tale, but they are, however, based in a fairy tale world. And those kinds of decks are definitely my favorite kind, because at least I pay attention to the story when I get a major arcana card, and then with the minors I can see how that evolves without being tied to too many different stories, which can be overwhelming. I have another fairy tale deck which does this quite similarly. It's my god, I forgot now. It was in my top 10 tarot decks of last year. Let me grab it. I still really love it, I just have shit memory. But it's the Land of Stories tarot. I got this on Etsy by Vermilion Collection. It's a great fairy tale deck. Similar vibes. Major arcana are depicting a specific story, and then the minors are more set in this kind of like fairy world. And I think that's perfect for me. If I had a deck that had one specific story for each card, for each 78 card, I would feel overwhelmed. So I like the idea of having major arcana is a specific story and minors is more set into this kind of world. This pentacle suit that is all little gnomes. Oh my god, you guys, this is so freaking cute. Look at that. Mushroom hats. Okay, this is too much. The gnome suit is making me want to squeal. Look at it. So cute. Okay, so this big fan, cuteness overload. Okay, this suit is my favorite for sure. And then so that's for the pentacles. For the wands, we have dragons, which I also love. And the fairies are like, they have those like dragon wings and they have dragon companions. And it, again, the guidebook goes a little bit into that. It's super cute. With all their like dragons familiar, we love that. And then last suit we have the sword, and the sword is more like regular fairy, I will say, you know, the little wing Tinkerbell vibes, but really beautiful the way the wings are depicted. I love how they're like luminescent like that. It's really cute. If you have regular people depicted, they are depicted with their little fairy friend, which is really cute. So yeah, this is adorable and I can't wait to use it. It's just the timing is not right because right now I'm in spooky vibes. But like I said, for the end of the year, this is giving me Christmas vibes. This is giving me like all of those juicy fairy tale vibes that I love working with. And I'm excited to offer lots of fairy tale readings on my channel. If you guys are up for it for the end of the year, let me know again in the comments. Let's move on to indie decks. I will start with pre-orders that have made their way to me. This is a deck I pre-ordered in June, I think, that finally arrived. And again, perfect timing, because if it had arrived here earlier, I probably wouldn't have been really in the mood to work with it. But now that we're entering a bit of a darker season, although like I said, for me, it's getting more summery and hot, but I'm living my spooky fantasy regardless. It's the Bird King Tarot by Modern Magic Press. I actually found out about this from one of you on Instagram, so thank you so much. If you are watching, you'll know who you are, who sent me the link to this and was like, hey, I think you'd like this. And they were right. I saw a couple of images and I was definitely curious enough to pre-order this. I'm a curious gal and definitely piqued my interest. So this is by Modern Magic Store. They have lots of different decks. I think they're based in Eastern Europe, maybe Poland. I might be mistaken. Don't quote me on that. They have quite a few decks out. They sent, for example, here is another deck that they have out there, which looks like this. They sent a card, which looks really beautiful as well. And so this particular deck, the Bird King Tarot, is, I think it's a deck that was based on photography from the creator. So here are the backs. Not a huge fan of the backs, I'm gonna say. I don't know, they're okay. Edges are green, metallic, and it's super glossy. So that's one thing I was a little bit disappointed with, because where I live is very sunny, and when I'm filming glossy decks and I don't tend to necessarily get on, but it's okay. Minor details. So like I was saying, this is a photography deck with photography from the creator, and then I think they used Photoshop and a little bit of AI to manipulate the images. So the vibe of this, this being called the Bird King Tarot, is definitely taking a walk in a dark, spooky forest. It's giving post-apocalyptic and nature is regaining ground, right? It's giving all the humans are dead because we fucked it up real bad and now what's left is nature reclaiming life and potentially even spirits coming back to the earth to reclaim what's left. Right? I mean, this is a vibe I'm getting. I don't know, maybe I'm inventing it. I don't know if there's a PDF, but at least there's no guidebook in the box. But the vibe I got was definitely post-apocalyptic and nature is reclaiming its right in this dark forest time. This, I don't know, this picture is making me feel stuff. I need to sit with this one. I had it the other day and I was like, I need to journal about this. I don't know. There's something quite profound about this, but I can't quite put my finger on it yet. Yeah, this is very haunting in a way. It's definitely a little bit dark. I don't know if you can call it spooky. There is an aspect of despair / rebirth and transformation about this deck that I think is very interesting. All of these places are desolate, that are abandoned, and look, even the Wheel of Fortune is the earth that's been like half swallowed, and yet next to that we have those beautiful animals and a lot of birds, obviously. And look at this, I mean, Seven of Wands with this adorable little hedgehog. You know what it's giving? This is a super specific reference. I don't know if a lot of you guys would have watched it, but there's a show, I don't know if it's still available, but there was a show on Netflix, I think it's Swedish. It was called The Rain, and it was following two siblings in a post-apocalyptic world that were trying to survive, and they had been put in a bunker by their family, and they had been waiting for years for their family to come back, and they never came back. So in the end they decide to like come out and try and explore the world that has been like destroyed. Nature has reclaimed its right, and it's dangerous to be out, and giving that kind of dark forest post-apocalyptic vibe, this show. And this is very that. I don't know if a lot of you will know this reference, but yeah, let me know if you've watched it. It definitely gives me that vibe. So definitely a deck I wouldn't think to pull out for anything. It gives a specific vibe, and yet I think it can be really great for readings around transformation, for readings around shadow work as well, deeper messages. I think it could be great as well for communicating with spirits, with your guardians and stuff like that, even with like past loved ones, because there's an aspect of this deck that feels like it's walking through that thin veil, right? It's one I'm just literally getting to know recently, so I don't have anything much more clever than that to say. I'll report back once I worked with it more, but I just wanted to share in case you guys weren't aware of it. I'm pretty sure it's still available on that store. I'll leave the link in the description box if you're curious. Really interesting, quite unique. So that's the Bird King Tarot by Modern Magic Press. And I'm an idiot because there's apparently a QR code for going to the guidebook. So there is a guidebook, I need to download that. I'm glad I showed you guys the box because I wouldn't have seen it otherwise. Okay, next up, one that came from Eastern Europe that took quite a long time to get to me, but that always arrived in perfect timing. This is the Slavic Legends Tarot, and I know I'm the last person to get this probably out of all the other tarot tubers, but you know what? When it came out last year, everyone and their mother had this, and it really gave me the ick. I am really that bitch that when I see a deck everywhere and everyone is like gushing about it, it makes me want to run in the opposite direction. That is one of my most toxic traits. I'm aware of it, at least I'm self-aware. And then usually 1 year or 2 years, or sometimes even a few years later, I'll come back once everyone has stopped talking about it, and I'll be like, oh, you know what, this is nice. I'm gonna have a look and make my own opinion. Now that everyone has stopped talking about it, it's time for me to work with it. So I'm either someone who's very, very early on in the trend, meaning that I find a deck that not many people talk about, I love it, and that's great. Or when it's decks that a lot of people talk about it, they love it, it's hyped, everyone is loving it, I usually go to them 2 years after everyone. At the end of the bandwagon, once the hype has died down and I feel like I can finally make my own opinion without being oversaturated with it. Is it stupid of me? Yes, but I can't help it, that's how I roll. So this, definitely last year I was not ready to look at it and work with it. This year though, something ignited in me and I was like, hey, you know what, this is gorgeous. So I ordered it early on in the year, and it took a little bit to come to me, but it actually arrived in perfect timing because I think this would be great again for this like October, November vibe, although I've been using it already since I came back. This is the deck I've been using the most since I came back from South Africa, and I'm loving it very much. So I can already tell you that it's really great, it's beautiful. If you were worried about the rose petal effect, which I think there's two versions, you can get a glossy one and a matte one. I have the Dark Mansion from Taroteca, and I literally bought that first edition that they had as soon as they released it. So at the time, that rose petal was quite sticky. I think it was the first, actually probably one of the first decks that came out that had that rose petal finish. I believe they were like the first ones to do that. This one is, I got this version with the matte, as you can see, matte version with the black backs and black edging, because you can get this in different versions. And the rose petal on this is definitely less sticky than my Dark Mansion. It's still a little bit sticky, but definitely doesn't get as clumpy as my Dark Mansion did. It took me years to break in that Dark Mansion tarot, but now it's great. And I think this one really won't take as long. It walks that fine path between folklore, again fairy tales. There's a lot of stories there which I've been enjoying researching on my own. It's a shame there is no guidebook because I think there's a lot of stories there that would be amazing to find out. But even what's going on here? Even without knowing the stories, I have no problem reading with this deck actually intuitively. There's a lot you can get. Definitely very magical, right? And some allusions to certain divinities and mythology. So I've been enjoying it a lot. It just needed to wait for its perfect time. It's just like the Gentle Tarot, literally, you guys. Last year or 2 years ago, everyone was talking about the Gentle Tarot. I was like, feel oversaturated with it. And then this year I was like, it's time, I'm ready to work with it. And I loved it. The hype does me no good, but when I listen to my own intuition and work with things in their own time, it always works out. Love this Judgment card. It's so beautiful. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely be using this deck for you guys in a future pick-up pile because it's beautiful and it deserves to be shared. And I think you'll see that in my October faves because I've been really enjoying it. Okay, last 3 decks I want to share with you guys are actually from an order I put from Array Fall in Time. My friend Cassandra, who owns the shop Array Fall in Time in America. Cassandra, if you're watching, I'm sending you the biggest hugs. She's amazing, she's a sweetheart. I love supporting small businesses and I love supporting women's owned businesses, and I even love more supporting women's owned businesses that are owned by awesome kind souls. And Cassandra has all of that. I think it was in July and it arrived literally just when I got back from my trip, so perfect timing. And I ordered 3 decks from her and she's so sweet that she actually added some super lovely bits in my parcel. So the first one I had been seeing on Cassandra's channel, and yeah, if you're not aware, like Cassandra has the shop Array Fall in Time. She also has a YouTube channel called Array Fall in Time where you should definitely check her out, subscribe, and go tell her I say hi. But I was seeing this particular deck on her channel and I was like, you know what, I need this too. This is right up my alley. So I finally ordered it from her shop. It's the Extraordinary Incantations. This is a practical magic deck. I believe the creator is from the Philippines, which is awesome because one of my favorite tarot people, Angie from A Cup of Tarot, is also from the Philippines. So I don't know, I love those little synchronicities. And I actually have a deck from Practical Magic that my friend Angie sent me, which is the No Filter Oracle. Let me grab it. It's by the same people, Practical Magic, and this one is literally a little oracle deck that will read you to filth with honest truth. I mean, look at those cards. It's own your wants, put them out there, live up to your hype, never lose the butterflies, things aren't happening to you, things are just happening, you decide what bothers you, remove the rose-colored glasses, take things as they are, stress is not a gauge of self-worth, you're allowed to take breaks, make that plus twist happen, turn dreams into goals. There you go. It's a very no bullshit, honest, as it says, no filter approach, which is a great little fun oracle deck for wrapping up readings when you have a quick yes or no type of question, quick question about something, you need a kick up the butt. I love this. And so by the same creators, Practical Magic, we have, and I believe they've got quite a few decks out actually, and I'm curious. I've got 2 decks. I'm like, maybe I need more. That's the deck goblin in me talking. This is another cute little deck. As you can see, it is definitely smaller. I mean, let me bring, here we have the Los Scarabeo tarot deck I was just sharing with you. Once Upon a Time one. As you can see, this is a itsy bitty teeny tiny deck in comparison, more playing card size, but small but mighty, let me tell you that. This is a unique take on tarot, meaning that whilst yes, it's a tarot deck, there's 78 cards and we have the name of the suit and the card here. For each of the cards you also have a little mantra, a little affirmation, or as it's called on the box, a little incantation, and it's adorable. I love this so much and I've been enjoying it a lot. So ever since I've gotten back, this is one I've been using. I've been sharing it on Instagram. I've been putting cards for my friend. Just a couple of cards gives them a little affirmation or a little journaling prompt they can work on, and it's so great. I understand why Cassandra loves this because she was sharing it on her channel and she was saying it's one of her favorite decks, and honestly I can see why, because this is super versatile. And the main reason why I got this is because I want to use this for self-love readings that I will hope to be offering soon, paid offering in the future once I can like get my health together and everything. I'm excited. I'm working in the background for you guys on offering paid readings for you and personal readings and stuff like that. And this is definitely a deck I could see using for my future self-love themed offerings, because I think it would work really well. The way I've been using it myself, and that works wonderfully for that, is that I've been pulling 3 cards, for example 3 cards around like what do I need to know. So we have 3 of Wands, I'm bold enough to leap, and the Empress, I'm feeling myself and I'm loving it. And then I would pick a tarot. Recently I've been using the Rainbow Tarot, but any tarot could do. And so I would pull a tarot card and ask, how can I gain boldness and feel more confidence around taking leaps of faith? And then I would pull another card around, how can I tap into this energy of feeling myself and loving it? And so these would start almost as starting points for spreads for me. And you can pull as many as you want, right? You can pull 3, 4, 5, doesn't matter. And completing that with tarot decks or oracle decks. But as starting points for spreads, it's wonderful. It's also wonderful for wrapping up a reading. But I've done a rest of 2024 pick a card, and I'm using this deck for each pile to wrap up the reading. If it's out, I leave it in the card, and you'll be seeing it in a lot more future readings, because honestly this is super versatile little deck. I'm really enjoying it, and it's one I could see taking myself everywhere because it's super small, so really practical and easy to take around. And honestly, if you want to do a little card pull for your day, if you're like, okay, I need a little bit of a message around this, I need a bit of a daily guidance or whatever, not only do you get the meaning of the tarot card, but you also get an affirmation. And I think that's great, getting a little affirmation to carry with you for the day. Really cute. And I think that the artwork is also very enchanting. I love those bright colors. We have some disability representation there, which I was super happy to see. So yeah, love that. Other new deck I got from Aurifolian Time. This one, the Journey Tarot. You guys, this is a bit of a spontaneous purchase because I saw a few images of this. Normally I do my research, right? When I buy a deck, normally I watch a lot of walkthroughs and I ponder, and they sit on my wish list for a while, and then I rewatch walkthroughs. I mean, can we look at this? This, honestly, I didn't even watch a full review or a full walkthrough. I just saw a couple of images on Instagram, I believe, of the deck, and I was like, yeah, something about this is calling me. And then I saw that Cassandra was stuck in it, and it's a sign. I can order this from one of my favorite people, so I'm gonna be doing that. And we're kind of gonna discover it together because I've not even looked at this. I've not had a chance. These arrived just when I was coming back from my trip, and I've been working with this one a lot, and I've been working with the Slavic legends, but I've not really taken a look at this, so we're gonna discover this together. Look at this guidebook. I mean, everything feels very luxe. I'm not gonna lie. The cardstock feels very nice. The box was beautiful. Let's have a look. Okay, it's full color. Okay, not a huge amount, although it looks like it's poems, which I actually really love that. So we have poems and we have keywords. Ooh, let's see what they say for Queen of Wands. A vibrant flame in the darkness of the night, no need for fright, she brings eternal light. Watch her dance, it's quite a sight. If she roars too high, and that she might, don't try to fight, just love in her light. Ooh, I like this. Okay, I'm pleasantly surprised. What does it say for the Fool? Because that's a big card for me. Okay, the one who chooses. The conscious universe manifesting into an unconscious reality. Oh, let me show you the card as well. That would be better. Not me being a bad tarot tuber. We're used to that. The Fool symbolizes the start of a journey into the unknown. Embrace new beginnings and trust the unfolding path. Remember, all things are a matter of perspective. All experiences are interpretation of attitude. Okay. So majors don't seem to be poems, but minors are. This is really cool, you guys. This is interesting, and this deserves a little bit of study, I think. I fell in love with the artwork, but I can tell there is a lot more depth into this than meets the eye, for sure. And I definitely knew that from the few images I saw, because I saw that there was some renamings, which normally is something that makes me run in the opposite direction. Listen, life is hard enough. I don't have time to be remembering how someone renames something if I want to pull my cards and get an answer. Sometimes doing the brain gymnastics of trying to remember the renaming can get in the way of my readings. We're gonna see. Oh, there we go. 7, the Chariot is a great way. Okay, but you know what? I can get on board with that. 8, the Equilibrium for Justice. Yeah, that's fine. Totally fine. The Sage for the Hermit. Again, that's fine. I can get on board with that. Yeah, you know what? So far, so good. It is a tough deck. I don't know. It feels quite hermetic, and it feels very pre-Raphaelite, with a little bit of fantasy, but I'm wondering if there's like hermetic or tossy inspiration there. Whatever it is, I'm here for it because oh my god, look at this artwork. The hanging man, gorgeous. Oh my god, I'm like, yeah. And this is literally the card that made me buy the deck. I saw this card on Instagram and then I saw the box, like the inside of the box, which I know it's ridiculous, you guys, but look at this. I saw this and I saw the desk card and I was like, yeah, I need this without any further research. You know what? I'm really intrigued and I'm blown away by, first of all, the artwork. I think it's beautiful. Yeah, there's definitely some hermetic structure, I think, here with the pans and everything. Look at this artwork, my god. This is stunning. Okay, I'm so glad I followed my gut and got this. This is beautiful and super interesting. Let's have a look at some minors. Yeah, I think the minors are element based, which is completely fine. I can get on board. We'll see the court cards. Hopefully the court cards are not too renamed because sometimes that can get in the way for me. Oh my god, look at this 4 of fire. I want to live there. Wow, this is beautiful. Okay, let's look at some court cards. I'm blown away by this artwork. This would be amazing for storytelling, for creative writers out there. I feel like this is taking me into a fantasy world and I could see stories there being written. Oh, there we go. Okay, what is it? We have Acolyte, King, Queen. No, okay, we're good. Yeah, we have the Acolyte for pages and then we have Knight, Queen and King. The Acolyte is definitely giving me, again, those hermetic vibes. Anyway, now I've got the deck, I'm gonna be using it, reading the guidebook, doing a little bit of research, but I just really felt cold to this deck, so I didn't, like I said, I didn't really overthink it. I just went for it with impulse buy, I guess you can say, and something about it called to me, and wow, I'm so glad I responded to my intuition because something about this is giving me all sorts of feels. It's making me feel like I'm stepping into a fantasy world, a specific book. Look at this 9 of cups. Oh my god, again, I want to be there right now. If I ever saw a portal like that, I'd totally step through. Would you? Would you step through a portal if you didn't know where it would take you? I wouldn't be able to stop myself. I'm a curious bitch. I would step through, even though I probably would regret it depending where it takes me. But I would totally do that. Queen of Water, yeah, beautiful. So yeah, the minors are the element based. You know what? This is a deck I can see myself use for November because I'm pretty stacked up on the decks I want to use for October. Like I said, I'm feeling the spooky vibes. I've planned already what I want to use for October. My god, this deserves a whole month. It's gorgeous. It makes me feel like I'm in a hobbit little house. I love this so much. Oh wow, this is great. Beautiful. So many landscapes. I'm so here for that. Okay, and look at the knight on his turtle. That's adorable. No regrets for this purchase. Oh, and we have chakra cards and yes and no cards you can use with a pendulum, which is always fun. Of course, if you guys have it, if you have anything to say about it, let me know in the comments. But this is a piece of art. Honestly, I'm blown away. And even the box, I can't, you guys. It's giving Ophelia vibes. You know that pre-Raphaelite painting? If you know, you know. Oh, before I show you the last deck I got from Cassandra, she sent me additionally a couple of very sweet stuff. She's just the sweetest, so I just wanted to share it with you guys because she's so nice. Because they made my day, honestly. She added in the parcel this gorgeous, and I'm sure you can find this on her shop. She's stocking all of the Gentle Tarot goodies. So she sent me the Gentle Tarot journal because I got my Gentle Tarot from Cassandra this year, and like I said, it's one of those decks that I was resisting so hard. And this year I was like, okay, I'm ready to embrace the Gentle Tarot. I'm ready to see what it's like, and I've been blown away, and it's definitely gonna be in the top 10 decks of this year. Definitely trust the hype for this deck. It's honestly profound, deep, and beautiful. I just needed the hype to die down so that I could get into it and make my own opinion, and I'm so glad I did. And so Cassandra sent me the Gentle Tarot journal, which is beautiful. It has the opening intention from Mary in the Sky and the closing intention, which I love. I mean, if this already tells you everything you need to know about the Gentle Tarot. You can pause it and read it. It's a gorgeous healing deck, and yeah, beautiful, healing, and amazing. And I can't wait for her upcoming oracle whenever that comes, because Cassandra also sent me the Gentle Tarot stickers, and it's amazing. It's literally, we have here all of the cards from the Gentle Tarot, so you can add them into your journal, which is so cool, you guys, because normally when I journal I just write about my cards. I don't do the whole like taking pictures and printing and stuff because ain't nobody got time for that, to be real. I don't. But having stickers you can add into your journal like that represents the card you pull. Oh my god, this is amazing. I'm so excited. This is beautiful and I'm so pumped. I'm gonna be doing my moon readings, I think, with the Gentle Tarot for the rest of the year and use those, and it's gonna be amazing. So thank you so much, Cassandra, for these lovely added bits. You're the best, and I'm sending you huge hugs. So the last deck I got from A Riffle in Time is this beauty, which I've been wanting for so long, you guys. I'm so pumped. This is a deck that's been on my wish list for 4 years, 5 years at this point. It's been a while. It's definitely been a while, but here we are. The Lost Hollow. This is a used copy that Cassandra put up because not only does she sell new decks, which is awesome, she also sometimes on her shop will put used copies of decks that she no longer is resonating. And this is a deck, like I was saying, I've been wanting this deck for literally years and years, but it didn't deliver to Reunion. Shop on Etsy and stuff didn't deliver to where I live. So I've been like waiting for a chance to be able to get my hands on it, a used copy somewhere, ever since I saw it, because I couldn't get my hands on a new copy where I lived. Even though it's still in print and everything, you can get this if you want. Here are the backs. So this is a used copy from Cassandra. Honestly, I can't tell it's used at all, so she definitely takes super good care of her decks because this feels brand new. It comes with a little guidebook. I don't know which edition this is, and I don't know if there's a new edition now. Oh, third edition, there you go. And this are Artist Pixeloker. They've got a few decks out. They've just done a Kickstarter of a deck, which again I really liked and wanted, but again they didn't deliver to Reunion, the Kickstarter. They just delivered to America, I think, and a couple of places. It's okay, when it's time I'll get my hands on it, just like this one. Took me 4 or 5 years, but you know what? I got there in the end. When it's time, a deck will find its way to you. I really believe that. Somehow in divine timing, even if it takes years, doesn't matter. When it's time, it'll find its way to you. You just have to be patient. So first off, there's something about this limited color palette that I find super attractive. It reminds me of the Stunning Tarot, which is one of my favorite decks ever. And something about the red, white, and black I find super appealing. So that's what originally drew me to this deck. Secondly, the artwork. Really engaging and dark and very spooky, and yet there's something a bit magical about this. Feels a little bit witchy that I've always I've always wanted this deck ever since I've seen it. One of the things that really jumped at me as well was that for a deck that feels a little bit witchy and spooky and fantasy, there is definitely some representation here of different skin tones, and we have disability representation and things like that, which we don't see a lot in fantasy decks, you guys. There's definitely more and more representation of different ethnicities, different genders, different ages, body types, disability, and all of that in modern decks, and I love that. I'm really glad we see that. But when it comes to fantasy decks, I would say like fantasy, magical, you know, all of those kinds of decks, it feels like there's less of that. So glad that there is some different depictions here. And generally speaking, this deck just feels very profound. I'm very excited to finally have my hands on it. I'm gonna be shuffling this and I'm gonna be using it in October because look at it. Oh, this is gonna be a great time. I'm very excited. This is linen, love it, very easy to shuffle. Let's look at some of the minors. Yeah, do you guys have this deck? Do you enjoy this artist? Their work is often monochromatic. It's often a little bit dark and spooky, and yet it's super beautiful. I know this is not for everyone. There's definitely some representation that feel a little bit spooky that I know could creep some people out. For me though, yeah, but this is just right. And yet I'm not a generally spooky girl. Like I hate watching horror films, I hate being scared, but there are some various spooky adjacent like art style and decks and stuff that really do something to me, that help unlock a part of my subconscious, and this is one of them. I don't know how, I can't really quite put my finger on it, but I think it's because it's as spooky as it is fantasy / witchy, and that's the right balance for me. So I think this is Hoth inspired, but also it feels a little bit Golden Dawn / RWS. So I think this is an inspiration from different systems. The Princess print, it's giving that Golden Dawn inspiration. And look at this Princess of Swords with Medusa. Ooh, this is so great. I just wanted to share it with you. Look at this Three of Pentacles with the Coven. So good, yeah. There are many representations here which I find fascinating and beautiful and really well well thought of, really clever. The guidebook, did I share it with you? Yeah, the guidebook, full text. We have the Golden Dawn's titles here. We have some keywords, upward, reversed, and a little bit of a message. My first pixel occult deck, I would love others. I've seen a few that I am lusting after, but like I said, they're hard to get where I live. It's great when that happens, when someone lets go of a deck and you're the person that really wants it and you can get your hands on it. That's just amazing. So there you go. And look at this Queen and King of Wands. They are badass. This is it. I've been talking for way too long. I'm gonna stop now. I feel like I said it was gonna be a little haul and it's still gonna be an hour long. That's typical me, isn't it? So there we go. These were all of my new decks. Like I've been saying throughout the video, these are just first impressions. I will come back in future monthly favorites to give you fuller reviews, my thoughts after I've been working with the decks for longer, for at least over a month before I give you my last impressions on them. But of course, in the meantime, I invite you to comment if you have these decks, if you like them, if you don't like them, what are the decks you've been enjoying working with, or what are the new decks you've added to your own collection or that you've removed from your collection. Let's just have a chat in the comments. I love to read you guys. And until my next video, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. I have many ideas of videos to film. I just need my body now to behave. I need enough spoon, but definitely the ideas are there, and I've got big plans for the end of the year, so I'm excited to share all of that with you guys. We're gonna have a lot of fun together. Thank you so much for being here. I'm sending you so much good vibes, and keep navigating the waves of your soul. Bye!